Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something that's super relevant as you all start thinking about retirement. And that's how to make that retirement income last as long as you do.
It's a big question that's on everyone's mind, right?
Yeah.
How to make sure those golden years are truly golden.
Exactly. And one of the tools that people are increasingly turning to is annuities.
Yeah, annuities can be a great way to create a steady stream of income that you can rely on for years to come. There are a lot of different options out there.
So many. But today we're going to zoom in on one specific annuity. It's called the GBU Life Asset Guard Multi-Year Guarantee Annuity.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
It is. But trust me, it's way more interesting than the name might suggest.
Let's break it down then.
Absolutely. And a big shout out to Diversified Insurance Brokers, so the folks behind this particular annuity. And they really specialize in creating these sorts of customized solutions, so we know we're in good hands.
Sounds good.
So where do we even begin with this thing? Well, one of the first things that caught my eye, and I think it's probably going to catch yours too, is this concept of guaranteed growth.
I like the sound of that already.
Right. Who doesn't? Basically, what this annuity offers is a fixed interest rate for a set period of time. You can choose between 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, and you lock in that rate. So you know exactly what you're going to get for that entire term.
Yeah, that's a big deal, especially when you consider how volatile the stock market can be. You know, with an annuity like this, you don't have to worry about those wild swings. Your money's just growing steadily and predictably.
It's like peace of mind built right in. It's like, okay, this portion of my retirement, that's taken care of. I don't have to stress about it. Which brings us to another key feature, and this is the tax-deferred accumulation.
Ah, yes, the tax man. Everyone's favorite topic.
Always a fun one.
Yeah.
But basically what this means is you don't have to pay taxes on the interest your money's earning until you actually withdraw it.
Exactly. It's like having a secret stash of money that the IRS doesn't even know about until you decide to tap into it.
Right. And that can make a big difference, especially if you're thinking long term, because all those earnings are compounding year after year without the government taking a cut.
I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Now, let's talk about getting the money into this annuity in the first place. They've got a pretty wide range of contribution options, so it's pretty flexible. You can start with as little as $25,000.
Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. But you can also go all the way up to $2 million without needing any special approval.
Whoa. $2 million. That's a big jump.
It is. So it really caters to a wide range of investors, right? Whether you're just starting to build your nest egg or you've got a sizable chunk of change you're looking to protect and grow.
That makes a lot of sense.
And, you know, it's not just about the initial contribution either. They've got some built-in flexibility there too. Like you've got 90 days after you open the policy to add more funds if you want. And then every year during your renewal period, you've got another 45 days where you can top things up.
That's pretty handy. You know, life is full of surprises. You might get a bonus, inherit some money, who knows? So it's nice to have that option to add to your annuity as you go along. And speaking of surprises, what about accessing your money? Like, what happens if you need to get your hands on some cash before the guarantee period's up?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one of those areas where annuities can get a little tricky. So they do allow for some penalty-free withdrawals each year. You can take out up to 10% of your accumulated value without getting hit with any charges. And that's even in the first year.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
No, it's not bad at all. It gives you some liquidity if you need it for an emergency or something like that. Okay. And then here's a little bonus. If you don't make any withdrawals in a given year, that 10% limit bumps up to 20% for the following year.
Oh, that's interesting. So it almost incentivizes you to leave the money in there and let it grow.
Right. But here's the catch. If you need more than that 10% or 20% limit, you're going to run into surrender charges, and those can be pretty hefty.
Yeah, surrender charges are definitely something to be aware of with any annuity. You know, they're basically a penalty for taking your money out early, and they can really eat into your returns. It's like a trade-off, right? You get that guaranteed growth and the tax advantages, but you lose some of your flexibility in terms of accessing your funds.
And those charges can vary depending on how long you've had the annuity, how much you're taking out. There's a whole formula to it. So it's definitely something you want to look into very carefully and make sure you understand before you sign on the dotted line.
And it's not just about those surrender charges either. There's also something called market value adjustments, or MVAs, that can come into play. And those can also affect how much you actually get back if you have to withdraw more than the free limit.
It's all about the fine print, right? But let's switch gears for a moment and talk about something a little more positive. What happens if, well, something happens to you? This annuity does come with a death benefit.
Yeah, that's important.
So your beneficiaries would receive the full accumulated value of your annuity without any surrender charges or penalties.
Hmm.
So at least you know your loved ones are protected no matter what.
It's definitely something to consider, especially as part of your overall estate planning. You want to make sure your family's taken care of. And this type of death benefit can provide a lot of peace of mind.
Absolutely. Now let's fast forward a bit and say you've reached the end of your chosen guarantee period. What happens then? Well, you've got a few options.
Options are always good.
Right. So you can choose to renew the annuity for another term at a new interest rate. Of course, that rate's going to depend on what the market's doing at that time, so there's no guarantee it'll be as high as your initial rate. Or you could decide to convert your accumulated savings into a regular income stream. Basically, you start receiving payments, kind of like a pension.
And that can be a really attractive option for a lot of people in retirement. It's like having your own personal paycheck that just shows up every month.
Exactly. Or if you decide you need the full lump sum, you can withdraw all your funds penalty-free. So you've got some flexibility there, but you do have to make a decision within 45 days of the end of your term. Otherwise, the annuity will just automatically renew at whatever the prevailing interest rate is at that time.
Got it. So it's important to stay on top of things and know when your renewal date is coming up so you can make the best choice for your situation.
Right. And of course, there's one more piece of the puzzle, and that's GBU Life itself, the company behind this annuity. They've been around for over 130 years, and they're a member-owned organization.
Okay, so they've got a pretty long track record and a stable foundation. That's always reassuring when you're talking about something as important as your retirement savings. You want to know that the company is going to be around to honor its commitments.
Exactly. So there you have it, folks. The GBU Life Asset Guard Multi-Year Guarantee Annuity. Guaranteed growth, tax advantages, flexibility, a death benefit. It's got a lot going for it.
Yeah.
But there are also those potential downsides with the surrender charges and market value adjustments and, that limited liquidity. So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
It really all comes down to your individual circumstances, right?
Mhm.
What are your retirement goals? What's your risk tolerance? Do you need a lot of liquidity, or are you comfortable locking your money away for a longer period?
So I guess what we really want you to take away from this deep dive is to do your research, ask questions, and really think about how this annuity, or any annuity for that matter, fits into your overall retirement plan.
Exactly. Retirement planning is so personal, and there's no magic bullet. But with the right information and a little bit of effort, you can create a strategy that helps you live the retirement of your dreams.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, let's think about this for a second. We've talked a lot about how this annuity works, but what we haven't really touched on is how it compares to other ways of generating retirement income. What about those target date funds everyone's always talking about, or maybe even good old-fashioned real estate?
Well, that's a great point. We could do a whole other deep dive on just that. So listeners, that's your homework. Start exploring those other options and see how they stack up against this annuity. Think about the pros and cons, the risks and rewards, and most importantly, what feels right for you and your unique circumstances.
And you know what? While you're at it, why not take it a step further? Imagine you had a crystal ball and could see exactly what your retirement would look like. What would your ideal day look like? What kind of activities would you be doing? Where would you be living? Once you have that picture in your mind, work backward from there. What kind of income do you need to support that lifestyle? What kind of investments will get you there? It's all about connecting the dots and creating a roadmap that leads you to the retirement you've always envisioned.
Wow, that's some powerful stuff. So to all of our listeners out there, don't just settle for a so-so retirement. Design the retirement of your dreams, and we'll be here every step of the way to help you navigate the complexities and make informed decisions. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep on learning.
And keep on dreaming big about those golden years.
Absolutely.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.